Welcome back to the channel, Warriors. Welcome to our weekly check-in on Wednesday, 10 o'clock. How's everyone doing out there? Um, got a lot to talk about today. Actually, this week is the Pan American Championships in Orlando. So I'll be traveling there. As a matter of fact, I've been cutting weight probably for the last 5, 6 days. I don't call it cutting weight, but mostly controlling my weight. Okay, making sure I can get down to that 181 and a half pounds in a gi middleweight. I'm going to be competing in the Masters 4 division for the first time. I turned 46 this year, so this will be very interesting. I won the Pan American Games last year as an M3 middleweight, and hopefully I'm going to repeat that again. As you know, I'm on the quest to become the first Triple Crown world champion as a world champion in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Judo, and Kudo in the over 45 division. And I'm sharing my experience with the world so we can chase greatness together. But also, in doing so, in chasing these championships, one of my strategies is semen retention. And that's why we're doing the check-in today, right? So where are we at? Let's see. It is March 25th for me. I would say, I kind of lost track of keeping track of the days, but as you know, we are 100% committed here to retaining our seed for the year 2026. So let's see here. It's about 94 days. And I think that around the 90-day mark, things start happening, really things start to, and I've been feeling just, as we always say, boundless amounts of energy. And hey, what's going on there, everybody in the chat? If you're in the live chat, go ahead, make sure ask any questions you like, but also share any wisdom you have too with the group. Remember, we're all here to help each other out. But 90 days, that's a big number for a lot of people. A lot of times in the NoFap Reddits, right? That's really how I got connected to this type of practice is the NoFap and then the semen retention Reddit, what are they called, subreddits, right? And they say that if you go on hard mode or monk mode for 90 days, where you abstain and you avoid watching pornography, avoid masturbation, and then this is when your body begins to reset. It does take a while to get there. And all the people that on this channel who are on the journey, I always recommend that we do the NoFap journey first and then kind of head into the semen retention, right? One comment here. Struggling keeping my seed. I've been on a week streak, looking to go a month. Any tips or suggestions? Hey, congratulations to you. That's a long time for most male adults in this world, right? Because we're always told that it's a healthy thing to spill your seed. My recommendation to extend that time further is you really got to get connected with the why you're doing this in the first place, right? It's not like I'm trying to get as many days as I can. Although, having a competition yourself, I think is very helpful, but you have to really know what you're trying to achieve when you're doing this. And for me, as I said, I was in pretty much a deep, dark hole for a long time, 7, 8 years ago. And I was doing a lot of drugs. I was doing a lot of, things I shouldn't be doing, staying up late at night, not treating my body well, not achieving my goals in business or in martial arts. And so really it's to understand why you're doing it. And everybody's reason is going to be different. For me, I want to be the best version of myself. And for me right now, after many years of failure, and now I'm really trying to reach the heights of my competition ability. And so therefore, I would say the other thing is to really focus your energy into something that you're passionate about, something that gives you joy. Doesn't necessarily have to give you money, right? It's just something that you really enjoy. And that way you can start to channel all this excess energy that you're going to get from this practice into something positive. And hopefully that's going to make you have, it's going to stack on a whole bunch of different other benefits that you're looking for as well. The self-confidence, the being, just content and being proud about yourself and what things you're doing. So really, if you channel your energy into something that is worthwhile, those things really help you out. So your why and channeling everything into something. Now, everything's going to have like short-term milestones, right? And I know that the world of instant gratification is around us all the time, particularly with social media. And so really, think about things as like a project. It's going to take many years. The great John Danaher said that you can reinvent yourself every 5 years. The things take time, and if you treat yourself like a project, like you're going to begin to see that, and more things will come to you. Like for me, giving up caffeine and giving up sugar, those things came to me on the semen retention journey. These are things I probably should have done before, but like now it really solidified my resolve for those things because I wanted to be the best version of myself. I wanted every advantage I could get in competition. I wanted to make sure I had a lot of energy to dedicate to my family, dedicate to my business, dedicate to my team. And so therefore, those things became easier for me afterward because I understood why I was doing it rather than like, oh, sugar's bad for you. I shouldn't eat these things. What am I doing? And then really when I go and I start eating it, I feel worse about myself because I think I shouldn't be doing it. Really having the idea and the vision of what you want for yourself and your family and your business and your goal, that's really going to give you that why that you need. Okay. And maybe, you fall off the horse and that's fine too. These things happen, but you get right back on, you keep riding the direction and perhaps maybe you have to change direction because things change all the time. What you think is important now might not be important 5 years from now. So it's always good to reevaluate yourself and be introspective. And that way, you can really find that and connect that to what you're looking for. I see here that maybe I should do martial arts. Yeah, absolutely. I think martial arts is, well, it's been my vehicle for self improvement. I think it is a great vehicle for self improvement. And for me, it's been, one of my main ways. I wouldn't say it's everybody's only way, but I think everybody should know how to defend themselves. I think everybody should have that skill. And in doing so, you're going to learn more about yourself, learn more about your body, learn more about your strengthen yourself mentally, physically, and spiritually. These are all things that martial arts can teach you. Really, you teach yourself. No one can teach you anything. You have to learn it and teach yourself, right? For those of you, I have to do a shameless plug. As you know, I'm on this journey to become the Triple Crown champion. It's not cheap, but if anybody wants to support that, I have a lot of materials down in the description. A lot of online courses for beginners, the Muay Thai University, the battle tested BJJ curriculum, something you can get into martial arts online, but then also find your nearest school. A lot of schools have free trials. I know our school in Washington, D.C., Beta Academy, we offer a free trial for anybody coming in. And that way people can understand what they're getting into. Now, every school is going to be different, right? Everything has a different vibe. So for those of you getting into martial arts for the first time, I would say that find a school that you vibe with. Also, if you have friends that are already doing martial arts, perhaps train with them because that's all really what this is about. It's about community, connecting with people, making real human connections. And in a world where we live in this the tech bubble, this almost like social media world that we live in, the connections that you make are going to be even more important. The connections you make with your instructor, with your teammates, with your training partners, all these things are very meaningful in life and gives your life some joy and perhaps some purpose and meaning. Um, yes, brother. And namaste to you, sir, brother. Um, I'm as I said, like I'm not perfect. I'm just sharing my experiences with the world, and hopefully y'all can share yours as well. But yeah, going back to the martial arts part, I am competing this weekend. I'm going to be competing on Saturday. I'm the number 4 seed in the division. There are 30 people in the division, so it's going to take me 5 matches to get to the top and to get that gold medal. And of course, this is all just getting ready for the bigger competitions that are coming during the year, which will be the Judo Veterans World Championship in September and the Masters World Championship in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu also in September. So it's going to be a good time. Um, yes, I seen here in the chat, brother, what kind of breathing method do you practice in life? Yes, I don't want to ever watch pornography again. I 100% agree with that. I think it's a cancer to the world. I think it's that I live in a world with a tinfoil hat. And I think that while it is free, right, you can go on the internet and find some free porn. You're paying with your soul. And the people who run the world are giving us things that are just going to pacify us, going to make us weak. Your seed is your essence, right? So you have to really cultivate that energy that you have and really hold it sacred. If you're just willingly giving it away, you're going to weaken yourself. And that's just the bottom line. And that's what it does. If you think about it as porn making you weak, and if we can understand that and the why that you don't watch it because you don't want to be weak, you need to be a strong man. And for those of you that want to be weak, well, the world needs strong men, right? I'm not saying that, that the whole like toxic masculinity or anything like that, but that's part of being a man is, you have responsibility and you have to really understand the great power that you have. And with great power comes great responsibility. Breathing methods, I talked to my brother Jordan on here, who's on the path as well with us. He has really taken SR into another realm, which is the brahmacharya, and understand the breathing methods. And there are a lot of breathing methods that can be learned through Taoist scriptures, but also like qigong, very simple breathing techniques. You can definitely go online and look them up. I find breathing is a great way to at least center yourself, and not just for the practice of semen retention, but centering yourself. It's been a way for me to just make sure that I'm in control of my own emotions, because the only thing you really can control is yourself. You can't control anything else that happens around you, right? And my sensei would always say, focus on your upset, lose your balance. Focus on your balance, lose your upset. And so, therefore, this is just a way to make sure that we have a method for finding that center, and really taking advantage of all the internal energy that we have. So yeah, lots of things going on there. Now, two things that I wanted to bring up. I had a interesting encounter a couple days ago in a giant, right? So I was in the shopping center, and then I heard a lady, and she was screaming at the top of her lungs. This Latin lady screaming in Spanish, and I'm working on my Spanish in Duolingo. It's not great. Mi español es muy malo, but uh, she was screaming, and she was cussing. Like, I heard a bunch of cuss words. That I know. Like, that's my the extent of my Spanish profanity is much better than my normal everyday speaking. And so I understood, like, she was, wow, like, she's really upset. And I had dropped something. I picked it up and I looked over, and she was pointing at this man. And the man was in the aisle, and he was coming down, and he's looking like, he's denying it or whatever. So then she started speaking English with me, and he's like, that man right there, I saw you pull down your pants. You were looking at those girls, and you were touching yourself, and this and that. And he comes out, and I can see his face. One thing we talk about in semen retention is the vitality that you get. Just look at your face. When you're in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, you look younger, you look full of energy. Whereas a person who's always draining themselves, they just look tired. They got bags under their eyes, they got furrows in their head. Some would say that there is like a perversion that you can like almost detect on this person, but it's everywhere. So it's almost like, how do you even discern and tell apart one person from the other if we're all just needlessly spilling our seed, right? So I saw this guy, and he had like these bloodshot eyes, and he was just, he didn't look like he was on any drugs or anything. There was another Latin man, probably in his 25 years old, a little bit chunky, definitely out of shape. And he was denying it. He was like, no, I wasn't doing that. I was using the bathroom. And she's like, no, I saw you. I'm going to call the police. You better get out of here. So immediately I was just like, well, let me just step in and talk to this guy. This guy didn't look like he was any threat, but I was like, hey man, you got to get out of here. That's crazy. And so, the guy, said something else in Spanish, and then he left, even though he did speak perfect English as well. But I guess he was yelling at the lady. And then I looked at the lady, and she's like, look, I got daughters. I can't have people acting like this. Like, this is crazy. And I think she was working there. She works there, but she was off the clock. And so she was just kind of like protecting the place and making sure it was okay. And everybody was very thankful for that. I was definitely thankful that, you get this, run this pervert out of here. But what compels a person to do something like that? And I would kind of go back to the late George Carlin. If you haven't listened to George Carlin, he's a comedian, and he passed away years ago. But his comedy was full of wisdom. It was a kind of an angry last 2 decades that he had, but he would spit the truth, so to speak. Right? He would tell the truth in his jokes, and he was definitely about the same mind about wearing a tinfoil hat. He just wasn't afraid of the world. He would say what he had to say, but he would do it in comedy, so it was kind of disguised. But one thing he would say is like, how come nobody ever tells a man to go, like, go do something nice, or go or but something in his mind is always telling him to do something disgusting and debauchery. Go taking a dump on the salad bar, or like, pulling down your pants and touching yourself in front of a bunch of girls. Like, what possesses people to do that? I don't really understand. But I do have some ideas. I do believe that the things that we are seeing and exposed to at a young age, especially pornography. Like, my understanding, as I was kind of diving deep into it and trying to find my why to stop watching it, like almost 8 years ago, was it poisons your mind in a way that you kind of detach yourself from how reality really is. Like, you see women as an object, you see them as sexual objects, sexual property, and then what you're into gets more and more depraved, and so you want like more novelty, and that starts to lead to weird practices. And so, therefore, I think that a lot of the people, a lot of the men particularly, don't really, they're exposed to it at a young age, don't really have a lot of direction, maybe nothing that they're into, nobody guiding them. And I think this is like a good idea, right? Like, this is a terrible idea. I think anybody would know that this is something that you shouldn't do, but I guess not. Like, just it happened 3 days ago when I was in the grocery store, right? And I live in like the suburbs of Virginia, so I don't live in like the projects or anything. This is like a normal place. It's a pretty safe place. Although I guess things are changing every day because I've never really experienced that before. Um, so I see a comment here. How old are you? Uh, Love your wisdom and insight that you're sharing today. Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you very much. I'm flattered you think it's wisdom. I'm really just sharing my experience. So thank you very much. I'm 46 years old, or this year I'll be 46. And so, yeah, this is why I'm fighting in the businessman class, fighting in the over 45 division, trying to be champion in those divisions. Um, but I think I credit a lot of the way that I look. I guess it's genetics too, like Asian don't raisin, right? But also, into the practice of semen retention. And that's where, for those of you that are in like your first couple weeks, like just really take note of your face and how it looks. I think the practice tends to rejuvenate you. And then this is also the issue of where, you become more attractive to the opposite sex. And I read a lot about that in the semen retention subreddits, or like, oh, I'm getting attention from like, young, beautiful women, people that I've never talked to before, animals, kids, that type of thing. But remember, like, this is not really what you're into, right? This is not your goal. This is a kind of a, um, what would you say? It's not a benefit, I would say. It's just a thing that happens and a thing that does test you as well. So, for those of you that begin to get to your 30 days, 45 days, you're going to begin to see like some more vibrance in your face, more attraction of people all around you. Maybe it's like the aura, maybe it's the pheromones, maybe it's different things, but these things do happen. And just, you got to remember where your why and what you're getting into, because I know a lot of people are into it to go out there and date and meet other people. And then what happens? You're kind of back into that same lustful cycle that we find ourselves that tends to drain us and weaken us and waste our time. So that's not really what we're looking to do. At least that's not what I'm looking to do. I'm happily married. I love my family, and I'm really just doing this to get the selfishly, I'm doing it for the benefits for athletic performance. And this is really where my experiment, why it started. So, but in doing so, it has helped me find that there are many, many benefits that come from it, and the focus and the opportunities. And I've been getting like so many different opportunities for business. And it's just because like you have more energy to give to it. It's not because like, there's anything magic about this, or like if you do this, it's going to change your life in that way. It's just that you tend to, have different goals and you present differently, and you have a lot of energy to devote to those types of endeavors. And I guarantee you that those of you that do have goals, and they're not, and you have to really think of it as a long-term project. I think this is something that can really help you a lot. Continue to look in here into the chat. Let me see. I have been using an application called No Relapse. And trust me, it's my 78 days. And after following the monk 75-day challenge of that application, I finally ended up getting rid of my corn addiction. Congratulations. Different, everybody's different and things work for people. And I'm glad that's working for you. So that's what's the app called? No Relapse. That's awesome. That's awesome. More things that we can do for people. Give it a try. I don't. I try to not upload as many apps on my phone as possible because I'm already on it enough. But for those of you that might find that helpful, I think that's a good resource as well. Things that can help you track yourself. But again, kind of rooting it in the why is going to be very important, because that will kind of help you understand, like, help you commit yourself to the resolve. So, you look like a Filipino Asian. Yeah, I'm from Thailand, so my family's from Thailand. I was born here in the United States. I was first generation born here, and the joke is that Filipinos and Thai people, we look alike. And even though there's a big distance between us, and the genetic makeup is different, because I think that the Filipinos have some Spanish in their blood, and for us, I think it's mostly like Chinese and Indian, where we come from. But we do look familiar. So uh, interesting, yeah. So although I would say this, all my ranting about, like, the rejuvenation you get in your face. Somebody did accuse me of being a grandfather the other day. They're like, "Oh, that's your daughter." My daughter's 6 years old. And they're like, "Is this your daughter or your granddaughter?" And I'm like, "Granddaughter." Like, "Do you think I look old enough to be a grandfather?" But hey, you know what? One day I really hope to be one, and I know that my grandfather. I was very fond of him when he was around. And I guess the gray hair is coming in. This is really where you can see the age start to come out. If you're a business owner like me, whew, you get a lot more gray hairs because there's a lot to deal with all the time. Yeah, and so this is it's basically that quick check in right now. Back into my physical check in here. I'm 178 pounds this morning. I've already lost 6 pounds over the last week and a half, focusing on this tournament. So, and I would have to say, like, this weight cut has been normally I dread it. It's like a drudgery, and I'm waiting for my match to be over so that I can eat whatever I want or however much I want. I'm very disciplined right now on the portions of my food. Basically, all I'm really subsisting on right now is like 2 eggs and 4 egg whites and a half to three-quarter cup of rice because I have to make sure that my gut is not full of vegetables and things that take a long time to digest. Even though I love vegetables, think they're good for you, and you're always trying to make sure you balance your macronutrition with your micronutrition. But at this point, for the next 5 days up until the tournament on Saturday, I've been on a very, what do they call, low residue diet. So I don't recommend it, but I don't eat a lot of white rice in general. Although I grew up eating white rice, it's delicious. And it's a nice change for me because it allows me to go ahead and eat white rice where normally I'd be eating like leafy greens and some type of lean protein. But white rice and eggs, whew, that just really connects with my Asian upbringing of eating rice in every single meal. So that's really where I'm at. I don't really have to cut a lot of water because, in IBJJF, we have to weigh in on the same day as we compete. Actually, about 20 to 30 minutes before you compete, you're weighing in, and you have to be right on the dot, or else you have to be way under or on the dot, because if you're over, then you get disqualified. Thank you very much. You paid $200 to compete in this tournament. You don't even get to compete. You didn't make weight. They don't bump you up a weight class. And you probably paid our tournament is in Orlando, Florida. So all your hotels, all your travel, everything you paid for, all the sacrifice you made is for nothing because you didn't make weight. So the first opponent is the scale, and you have to make sure you're well disciplined to deal with that. And for those of you that are trying to lose weight, it doesn't have to be necessarily for competition or trying to, excuse me, improve your body composition. I do have a link in the description below for the AI prompt that I use. As much as I hate AI and I think it's about to take over the world in a very negative way, I do use it in the sense that it helps me track my macros, micros. I tell it how much I'm eating every single day or what I'm eating in a meal, and it just kind of lets me know where I am on track, off track, and what to eat when I ask it. It's kind of helpful for you to kind of hit your goals. So I leave it there, the prompt that I made and I will use for myself. You guys can download it too for free and use it. And hopefully it's going to help you out as well. And as you're getting into semen retention, you're going to see that you're going to have to really focus on your nutrition. You want every single benefit, all the energy you can get out of semen retention, all the creativity, all of the, all of the energy. So in order to do that, you're going to have to you probably will elect to take up other positive habits. Like for me, it was getting rid of sugar, getting rid of coffee, caffeine, getting that out of my life. And, do I miss it? I think about it sometimes, but, really the positive things that have happened from giving those vices up greatly outweigh, the short-term pleasure that I get from those things. And not say I'll never do it again. I'll never eat a little bit of sugar. Like, that's what life's about, is experiencing life. You can't live in like this shell of anxiety all the time. And so um, but that has really changed the way that I, how much energy that I have every single day. Looking back in the chat here, I have a friend. His name is Ron. He's only 17 years old. And the interesting thing is that he is a street fighter. I have seen him throwing punches. Yeah. Um, hey, that's one of my favorite games, Street Fighter. So hopefully maybe he's playing Street Fighter in a game instead of street fighting other people in the street. Because I would say, like, as you're a martial artist, your need to prove yourself to other people, it's almost non-existent, because like you prove it every day on the mat. You're training all the time, and just think about like how much you're actually training. You against a person who's untrained, like, I train on average 2 hours a day. That's and this person's probably haven't trained 30 seconds in their life. So how do you think that's going to work out? Not too good. So there's nothing to prove. I'm always just using this to improve myself. So I highly recommend martial arts. How many hours do I sleep? I sleep around. It really depends. There's been a couple times where I've gotten only 5 hours of sleep, but I feel super energized, and I didn't wake up because like I just woke up for no reason, and I was like, whoa, and I got bursts and inspirations of ideas and creativity, so I would always write them down. Like it's hard for me to go back to bed if I have ideas in my mind, so I try to dump them on my notes or write them down, and that way I don't have to worry about thinking about them. And when I wake up, if there's an idea, I try to immediately commit it to paper or to digital notes as best I can. But there's been a couple nights, and that's really been thanks to semen retention, I think, in terms of like being able to function with that little bit amount of sleep. I also think it's because I had energy, so I woke up, but there'll be a deficit, and I'll have to make up for it. So maybe the next day I'll sleep like 7, 8 hours, but generally around 7 hours, 6 to 7 hours I get, and I feel really good. I have the same bedtime every day, usually around like 10:30, and then I try to wake up, early if I can. I do have a 6-year-old daughter. She does sleep in the bed, so like she'll kick me a lot of times, and I'll wake up because of her. So, but sleep is really important. It's also for those of you that are trying to raise your testosterone levels, sleep is going to be really really important. That's really one easy thing that we can do. We just have to train ourselves to get that amount of sleep, and that may be stopping watching, using a screen late at night, maybe an hour to 2 hours before you go to sleep. Those things have been really helpful. Reading before going to bed, having some magnesium, making sure your your sleep ritual is helping you get to sleep rather than watching TV, falling asleep to TV, or not even. Sometimes those lights keep you up, right? So you have to figure it out for yourself. What's your favorite dish ever? Another vice that I have, of course, is eating steak. I love eating steak, and my favorite dish will be a steak, sweet potato, and some type of cruciferous vegetable like broccoli or Brussels sprouts or asparagus, something like that. Like, this is my go-to dish. I love grilling. I go outside and I make sure that I grill for the family. A nice medium rare New York strip prime USDA with like a little bit fat marbling. I know it's not the greatest thing for me. At least that's what the FDA says, but a lot of other people say otherwise. A lot of carnivore only people. There's a lot of people like the Eddie Abneu who says like you have to eat like real food, and of course steak is a real food and fat's good for you. Who knows what the truth is? But I know that I do get my blood taken on the regular, and so therefore I will get to know what it is. My next blood test is probably going to be next week, and then it'll take me a few weeks to get in. I'll get my testosterone levels on my blood markers, and I'll share that with everybody. Oh, one thing I did. This is about 1 year of caffeine free for me. I forgot to mention that. I said I was going to do it in the last video. Caffeine free 1 year. It feels amazing, amazing. And I stumbled upon being caffeine free in the SR subreddits, and they said because it will be less likely to relapse, more able to control your energy. And I 100% believe it. Like I was just abusing coffee, 6 to 8 double shots of espressos a day. And I felt really anxious. I get highs and lows in terms of like mood. I get highs and lows in terms of energy. I didn't like it. And sometimes I just feel like super, like, what's the word? Gen Z is like aggro. You're like, oh, and I didn't want to feel like that anymore. So it took me a little bit of time to give up the coffee. And then afterward, I never want to go through the relapse again, I never want to go through the withdrawals again of giving up caffeine, which is feeling like a lethargic zombie. And that was like only like 3 days, but I don't want to go through it again. I've gone through it 2 times already, and I like how the way that I feel without it. So 1 year without caffeine, I feel amazing, and I'm just going to keep on going. So I'll give you updates as I go along. But yeah, this is it's been a game changer for me. I get up in the morning, I got energy. I don't need to find that uh, hot bean juice. Not to say, look, I'm not talking crap about coffee. I think about it every now and then, and when I do, I'll have a decaf. The decaf does sometimes have some caffeine, so I'm looking at this Swiss water decaf. It's only 10, was it 5 milligrams of caffeine per serving. I just don't want to get hooked on it again. And it's a slippery slope. Once you start getting back on it, you got to have more and more and more. It's like watching corn, right? It's like having more and more and more and more. And then pretty soon you're kind of back into it, and you're going to have to find a way out of it. And I just don't want to be there again. So getting rid of caffeine, game changer for me. I highly recommend it. Um, what's your longest streak on SR? Longest streak has been 184 days. 184 days. Yeah, no. Uh, 190 days. 190 days. I don't like counting the days because then you're like, oh, I got to get more and more and more. But like I committed to 2026 just being retaining my seed and just trying to see how far I can go. And I want to see what kind of things happen after that 190-day mark. You know, but I did that for the last year's world championship in jujitsu, and I took a bronze medal in it. I never placed before in the world championships, and I dedicate a lot. I credit a lot of that to all the practices, and one of them is semen retention. And I had some tough competition, but I think I had like 6 matches and still got on the podium. So um, this is why I'm trying to take it further and see where it ends up. But yeah, if for those of you that have gone longer, please do share your wisdom. Comment here, let us all know. And of course, if this is helping you out, make sure you like, comment, subscribe to the channel, anything to help get the word out. Look, I'm not here to try to make any money. I got plenty of businesses to do this. I'm just trying to dedicate some of my time to share some of the experiences that I've had so that perhaps other people can do it. This is a personal experiment for me. And remember, brothers, don't look down on anybody who's not doing this. Like the world is not, we're going against the grain. And that's, for me, that's always been like, I've been a follower of the herd for all my life, and all of my, and now I know that that's not always necessarily the place you want to go. Right? Sometimes the herd is going to the albatross to get cut up for meat to be sold to the people, and sometimes you have to go the opposite direction. And you're definitely going against the grain with this. Okay, so this is not going to be an easy thing, but I guarantee you, the path and the journey is worth it. The things that you're going to discover about yourself, the things you're going to discover about the world, about your relationships, nothing can compare to it. And that's where you have to once I mean it you have to do it for yourself to understand. Okay. And there's going to be a lot of people that are going to tell you otherwise. As a matter of fact, just don't bother telling anybody about it. Just be cool. And people will have to ask you like why it is that things are the way they are for you. you know how about your spiritual practice, your religion that you practice? I was born a Buddhist, and I became a monk for a while too. I was a monk for about 2 weeks. Sorry, 3 weeks. I was in the monastery. One thing I discovered for myself is that organized religion is not going to get you where you want to go. Spiritually in the sense, and that's just my opinion about it. And if you listen to Dr. Jang, of course, he's very popular these days. He talks about the Book of Thomas and the true teachings of Jesus, and they all say the same thing. The true path is in yourself. The divine light is in yourself, and the only way that you can, or God is in you. And the only way that you can uh, connect is to do good. And so I'm on a spiritual path, but it is my own personal path, and everybody's path is different. I hope we all arrive at the same place. And so this is where I know that a greater power exists, and it was only coming from practicing this that I understood it. The things that I experienced, the coincidences, the the just the universe being the universe. You're just like, wow, like there's got to be something else to this. And it's not just for me, because if you ask like, oh, you pray for something and you get it, it's like almost like that's like selfish. And you do something good because you want to get somewhere for yourself. Like that's not even that should not be the motivation. It's you do it because you feel it's the right thing to do, for whatever reason, for whatever purpose. It's the right thing to do. And I think if more people do that, we're going to live in the world that we want to be in, no matter what religion you're in. Okay. But I do respect all religions. Most of the people around me are Muslim, and I respect that because that is a disciplined religion. Going through Ramadan, which just finished, and the praying 5 times a day, and it's something to all. I mean, I respect every single religion. So provided that the practitioner is adhering to real spiritual practice and not using it as like a shield for things that you're doing on the side, that you don't want God to see. So that's just my opinion about that. Thank you for asking that question. I think that's that's a good question, and everybody has a different answer to it, and everybody has a different approach to it. So, but I know that what I'm trying to do here is just share my experiences. Hopefully, that's doing good. And I never want to make anybody feel bad about what they're doing, because I definitely was in that position. In that hole that I lived in. Almost like it was not a bottle, because I'm not keen on alcohol. It wasn't good for me, but definitely in a joint. I lived in that for a long time. Helped me stay away from all my problems, and make boring things and my situation in life more tolerable. But deep inside, I always felt like I was wasting my potential, and doing something that I shouldn't be doing. And that was that divine light inside of me telling me, hey, maybe it's time to change something, you know? So, anyway, hope that was helpful to y'all. I do have to get to a practice today, because this is my last practice. On the mat, I got to sweat a little bit before I take off on a plane tomorrow to Orlando. And just keep following me on my stuff on social media. I'll post some updates about it. I really do appreciate everybody being a part of this journey and a part of this channel, and sharing your journey, your experiences, and helping others. This is what it's about. As I said before, like, we're all in this together. Okay. And again, for those of you that would like to support the journey, I got some resources, some courses, some free stuff for you guys in the description below. Go ahead and check it out. Next week, I'll let you know how I did in the tournament, and I'll let you know what's going on for the rest of the year. But everybody here, stay strong, brothers. We got to look out for one another. We got to make this place better. I'll take one more question. Then before I go, what advice can you give to those guys that practicing SR for more than 100 days and wanted to relapse and want to induce dopamine in their lives? I would ask you, why do you want to do that? Do you want to do that because you're bored? Do you want to do that because you want to feel that intense feeling for that moment? Why? And Because there's so much that you can do with that life force. Just think about if you are carelessly spilling your seed, that you are losing your power, the power to change the world, the power to change your life, the power to do all these things. I'm not saying don't ever have sexual relations with a woman or your wife or anything like that. Like, but there's a time and place for everything. And maybe if you haven't reached the destination or the vision that you're looking to get, it doesn't have to be a final destination, I mean, I guess the final destination is death right now, at least in the physical world. But you at least need to get somewhere, and perhaps know where that is first, and channel that energy into that endeavor. And I guarantee you, whatever dopamine release you get, pleasure that you seek, will be even more pleasurable as a reward for however long you've been disciplined. Okay. But I hope that all you remain disciplined. I hope that we remain disciplined together, and that we continue to channel our energy and use it for the good, and use it positive. Okay. And in doing so, you got to take care of yourself and put yourself in the right direction, because, if you don't make your own bed, how are you going to advise others to clean up their house, clean up their room? Okay. So make sure you take care of yourself, use that energy to improve yourself, and set some goals for yourself. And if anybody wants to be held accountable, and you need somebody to be like, hey, what are you doing? Like, yeah, I could be that guy. I coach people all day, but that's really what I want to do, because I'm really here just to be more of a guide than to be the guy that's like trying to drive you to some salvation or something like that. I'm very careful about these gurus, fake gurus as well. That's not really what I'm trying to position myself to be, and nor do I want to be ever. I'm just a regular guy sharing my experience with you guys, so we can all get stronger. Okay. So hopefully that helped you out. Again, I got to get to training, and I'm going to see you in the next one. Oos.